Yep, so today we're going over Ram Jam. It's next week UGC official map. Today we have Joel as Spy and TMP and YGT as Pyro, and we'll go just like the weeks before over the map, just part by part, and looking at it from Pyro's perspective and then from a Spy's perspective. And yeah, TMP.
Okay, all right.
Start it.
I've played Ram Jam over a few seasons and whatnot, mostly in pubs. But from what I can tell of the map, it's very polarizing and it's a large Koth map. You start off in the spawn basically area, and you have two decisions. You can either go off the left side pretty much, or you can go off the right. Whenever you choose between these two sides, it's very polarizing. There's no real way to move out left and then right really quickly. There's a store here, but it doesn't give you the options too much due to the speed. So whenever you're rolling out the mid, it's very important that you choose a side specifically and be decisive about it. There's not too much in terms of combat related things. I suppose you have a natural advantage fighting outside the right side of your spawn. But for the most part, no one should be pushing up that far anyways. The connectors all lead to different areas for the most part, but they generally lead to low ground whenever you go out the right and high ground when you go out the left side. So make sure to use that in your techniques or strategies or anything like that. If you intend to use a lot of high ground advantage, the left side can be more important, but if you do a lot more ambushing and you want to get to the points relatively fast, or if you want to combat a left side with a very aggressive push into it, going out through the right could be more beneficial.
Okay. I think sometimes pretty much. You of course want to usually. I'd prefer to go with my combo, like, unless you play like with your flanks. But that's usually you want to go with your combo.
I think it would be fairly standard to
roll out
on
this
the
type of map, I would definitely advocate going with a combo, especially if your combo is going right. Definitely the advantage of being able to attack left side with right, with the Pyro. That's just perfect areas to do it in, so it's really nice.
I think at the start of the rounds, most teams tend to go right, because I think it's the fastest route out, so it tends to be at the very, very start. Yeah.
I also think, like, if the medic, if the Pyro has heals with the medic and stays with combo, it can be a lot more efficient, like, around the point than if he goes, like, far off with no heals with a flank.
This map isn't very liberal with the health kits and nice locations for Pyro either, so being with the combo could be very nice in that regard. Especially since where the big medkits are near the point are actually in places where Pyros work really well with combos and fighting combos. So it's probably a smart move to have Pyros with the combos and leading them into these areas.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk about mid or?
Well, I mean, we can talk about
spots between the areas.
Yeah.
I mean, I can.
As you said, probably not a lot of really spy spots in there, because as you said, you won't really fight a lot there because no one will push you that far.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, Joel. Maybe some decloak spots you have in there.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking a bit about this map before this, and it strikes me as the kind of map where you're probably going to see kind of a lot of Inviswatch / Deadringer kind of play, more so than any kind of cloak and dagger, just based on its size, because you kind of need that mobility. So I'd say you probably don't need to worry about the Spy too early on, because it'll take him a while to get into any reasonable position. But what I'm probably going to do myself, with the knowledge that most of the combos will be rolling out to their respective jam room, is probably try and go out the opposite way to my combo and then get around to theirs fairly early on, so that you can try and influence a mid-fight. Because, I mean, the Spy's aim at the start, or at least my aim when I play, tends to be to try and influence the initial mid-fight as much as you can, which normally means you need to, get a kind of key pick, be that sniper or what the Pyro would actually be concerned with, being the demo or the heavy or the medic or something. But just because of the size of the map, that'll probably take me a while to get into position for. So I'd just say your combo will probably be in the jam, and at this point, or pushing down to the point, and then you just need to be kind of wary about the various corners that a spy can kind of appear from at this point, because there's a lot of reasonable decloak spots out of the sight line of the enemy team which you can make use for, and then come around. So for where I am now, say their combo's holding in gem, you can pop around this corner in 2 seconds and you can be on them before anyone really sees you. So you just need to be wary that the spy can, I think you probably have to spy check probably quite a lot until you know where he is, just because otherwise he'll probably take you by surprise.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's all the obvious props in the jam room, like you can stand up on these heights. I mean, I think it's said pretty much every time we do one of these videos that props are where spies love to go, but this one I think is probably going to be the best in terms, because it gives you a lot of vertical height, which gives you
checked accidentally.
It's not something which gets checked accidentally, which is really good, and the height of it also gives it a lot of attraction, because it means that even if something's stood quite far away from them, you can technically get behind them really easy. Like you can do that in a jump and end up behind someone. So I think just make sure that's clear all the time you're in this room, and that's probably the most important thing you can do. And then just make sure that no one's decloaking, on the ramp or around this whatever wooden palisade thing.
Also, maybe if the enemy combo is holding, or if your combo is holding a little bit further back, and like not in jam room but on the ramp.
Yeah, on the ramp, then you certainly need to
then
be careful.
around here.
You run in here, pick up this ammo pack, and then you'll just be ready to kind of come straight in and just get out again.
Or maybe in this
it's certainly
corner.
an interesting map for spy. I'm not sure it's quite so good as some other ones, but it's got a reasonable amount of ammo packs, which is why I think it'll work well with the Invis and the Dead Ringer. But I don't think it's the best map for spy.
Okay, I'd say before we go midpoint, we should go maybe lobby, because I guess that should be pretty quickly, because lobby doesn't have that much to say.
I'll run. Wait, which side is red lobby? Oh, that one. Okay.
The red one.
Okay. So this is red lobby. It is pretty much where you'll go if you go outside the left side of the spot. If there's any of the spawn connectors that actually matter, it's probably this one due to this large health kit there, or actually medium technically. And it's nice coverage in a nice high ground situation. This is the one where a lot of... Apparently, if guys like to run right a lot, this is probably where the flank is going to be more often than not. But I can see this area specifically being a very strong area for combo usage. And even aggressive pyro play, as long as their sniper is on their right. Which means that their sniper is not in lobby as well. Lobby is really defensive, since you basically have standing slightly back near the medkit, you have the option to see any of the locations going into it. Relatively simple. Using a 2-man coverage where maybe like the heavy is looking out this way and the pyro is looking here, you can definitely cover every situation and be completely covered from any kind of spy attacks. The spy would have to basically decloak here, and there's no way that the two are not hearing that.
Definitely.
And you're very shelved from any kind of spam. So in terms of positioning, this is probably a really defensive position. I don't think it really controls much area too much. But if you're just trying to build Uber or something to get for a push, this could be one of your best areas to be in.
Yeah, it does strike me as the kind of area where you'd be building an Uber when the other team has the point, or something, as opposed to an area where you'd hold when you had an advantage of any sort.
I'd also be very cautious about being in lower lobby. Lower lobby may seem relatively nice. It lets you rotate right. That's about its best benefit. It does have some extra health, which could help out for any flanking class. But unless you're playing the flank as Pyro, and maybe running, I don't know, rate, it's probably not going to be very helpful to hold this area, simply because although the door does help naturally as a Pyro, at the same time it doesn't really control anything that seems to be viable. If you find that they're going a lot to the lower lobby and you're a flank Pyro, by all means controlling this area will be relatively easy. And it could actually be beneficial. But I don't actually see it being very beneficial for most players.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you said, it just doesn't cover any ground. Like, if you need to hold lower lobby, your team is probably getting rolled anyway.
I mean, it just doesn't make sense, like, really, because you're never going to push out of this door, because it just puts you in probably the worst position you could possibly be in. So I can't really see many teams committing anything more than just like a casual run through to low lobby.
Okay, but let's say you will push out of lobby anyway, lower lobby or upper lobby. Are there like any spots you need to check, like any hiding spots for the spy?
Yeah, there'll be a few.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to talk to them, or should I?
Yeah, I can. If you want, I mean, the obvious one, I suppose, if you do for whatever reason push out of lower lobby, then just make sure that I don't know, people are calling this China or something, aren't they? Just make sure that the spy doesn't drop down from you on there, and that he's maybe not coming down drop down as well, because either of them are fairly easy. And then there's more props. There's a little drain thing there and stuff, but nothing to be too worried about there. And when it comes to pushing out of upper lobby, I think the only thing maybe worth a glimpse is, I mean, he can get some vague vertical height on that railing, but chances of not getting bumped are ludicrously low, so it's probably not going to happen. But I think this is probably the big one, is you crouch down here and their team runs past and you just pop up and get a stab. I think that's the only one which really makes any real sense in terms of an approach. And you can hide back here as well, which kind of cuts their vision off, and I suppose maybe with a decently timed decloak you can kind of maybe get something. But I think just check behind you on the ramp, and check that corner, and then when you're pushing into jam or wherever you decide to push, just make sure as well. But other than that, I don't think there's too much to be concerned about there.
Just to complete it, can you still show the two spots in there, like the boiler thingy, in lobby? No, in lobby.
Lobby.
Like the little boiler, like next to the health kit. Yeah.
There's that area, and then the only other area I think you could probably be worried about spy coming from lobby is just behind these crates, because you can decloak here completely out of sight and pop around and maybe see if you can get something, but they're the other ones. That platform useless, honestly.
But you can
probably use it for escape.
You can jump there as spy.
Jump there, but
and also like the tube behind you, you can jump up there as well. Like if you have time and ammo left to check, then you have to jump on the thing on the left side and then strafe jump around it.
What about
just like that?
Cool. That's actually not bad, to be fair.
What about this? If they run it from top lobby,
Yeah.
this is fine. This is also
This
fine.
and this corner.
Personally, I don't think this corner would be good because you're going to be looking this.
I would say that this is by
corner,
far
this corner.
I mean, I expect your shadow will clip through the wall, but
Wait.
actually,
I don't have it turned on, so I don't know.
I don't think it does.
I have it turned on. Just stand there. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, I don't think it does. But I think them two corners are really the only dangerous ones. Honestly, I think you'd be more concerned about a sniper than a spy when you were pushing out of here.
I mean, maybe the boxes, because like you can jump over if the pyro is checking sloppy, and then just decloak.
Yeah.
But other than that, I agree. Like, first of all, you probably won't push out there that much to begin with, and second, I don't know, some weird spots.
Yeah, well, it's good to know every eventuality, I suppose.
Yeah. I'd say we'll just do the same very quick with the backyard or whatever this main area there is called. Like
the other side of.
That like this whole side basically, including drop down.
Corridor land.
Okay, never go to drop down. Pretty much.
Yep.
Just. Just never go to Spyro.
Well, what about rollout?
Just go. If you're going out right, just go through this door.
But like,
it's actually a little bit slower.
Isn't drop down faster if you roll out?
At the same point, if you're going right side, you would eject from rollout. If you were going like directly to the point, that would be very nice. But honestly, I don't think that'd be a smart move. It'd be much more important to control this jammer than it would be to go.
That the demo might go down, drop down at the very start, and then the rest of the combo will kind of get up into the jam area is probably what I'd imagine to happen.
Actually, I'd expect the demo to go to the right because he has more clearance to sticky jump his way through, and he'd want to get to the jam room anyways to grab the health.
The demo man can come with almost full health to the midpoint, like when he uses drop down. There's like a small health kit in drop down as well.
Right. From point, if you're directly on point, you have really good sight on drop down directly. It's like the only exit that you can directly see. And like the sniper could just watch in it, like see it.
On rollout, super viable. The could be on mid before anyone goes through drop down. But regardless, I don't think rolling out through drop down is really.
For start, even.
I would actually say going through that little shutter and going out through mid would probably be faster. You get the same result.
Yeah, I don't think drop down's going to see a lot of use.
As Spy, I could see it being used as a little sheltered corner.
Mm-hmm.
You run out of, but that's about it.
Yeah.
In old versions, it was much more powerful because that room actually was a sniper nest. The windows were open.
Ah,
Okay. Oh.
They can just sit a sniper there and watch red gem without like any danger. Well, maybe a good thing they. Yeah. Yeah, for spy spots, I think we mostly covered it. I mean, the drop down.
I mean, if you don't know for some reason maybe building here and later on in the game and you're pushing out the right side, it's a pretty straight corridor down to the ramp. I don't really think there's going to have much trouble there, and then we've already kind of covered the jam ramp and all of that, haven't we? So I don't think there's any really need to say again.
I mean, on here, you can get behind the fuel box, for example, the one you're standing on right now.
Yep, you can. This reminds me of like Badwater second, where you can get behind them barrels. And
I think it's like, yeah, as you said, like the barrels, where it's a bit wonky when you flame around it, and yeah, on the fence and behind the fence as well.
There's places, but again,
it's just good to know, I guess. Like,
I don't think there's anything really more to it than just check props. Like to this point, I mean, the only thing to be worried about again is just the really quick rotations you can pull around the fences, but we've been over that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this spot doesn't have a lot of visibility. Like, if you have to recover your cloak or something.
Yeah.
But you can't really go for anything if you're down there because like you're really visible if you go out there. But yeah, as you said, if you like run cloak and dagger and you have to recover, or in general like you got flashed or something and they're searching for you, you're pretty much protected down there.
Yep.
Okay, then very quickly on the other side, the garage car thingy behind you, Joe.
This here?
No, down there.
Oh,
yeah.
Right. Yep. Yeah, so this is kind of, I guess, more of an area that might see some use when the mid fight's kind of like there's people actually fighting towards the midpoint, because it strikes me as a kind of area where you might. I don't think anything's really going to happen directly around the garage, and maybe you can get some jumps down from this. I don't even know what this is meant to be, like a jam press, or I don't even know what the hell it is. But
those are air conditioning units, by the way.
Jam press.
No idea. It's like a red cylinder with a couple more cylinders poking at the top. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, this
I think
fence.
it's vent. It's a venting
maybe it's a vent.
system.
This fence is kind of nice, just based on the fact that you can kind of come out fairly aggressively onto the point without really being seen. The same with these crates, to be honest. But there's nowhere super sneaky a spy can hide. I mean, I kind of almost like this area if this jump was a little bit quicker to do, but it's not that fast, really. Yeah, I mean, just your usual kind of popping out from behind props. This fence is probably the best thing about the midpoint, to be honest.
And you can stand on the railing, like at the garage door, but then again, the question is how useful it will be.
Yeah.
Behind you on the where the car is. Yeah, you can stand on top there.
Okay.
But yeah, you can sit there and like hide and wait, I guess, if you just want to call out stuff to your team.
Yeah.
Other than that,
I suppose if there is a spy who's using cloak and dagger, there are quite a few spots on this map where he can like sit and wait and observe and things. But I mean, just maybe casually fire a flare onto this, and the same onto this fence. That's actually like if you were using C&D, which I'm not sure a huge amount of spies will, but maybe someone will change it up. Then this would actually be a fairly decent place. I can't imagine a lot of spam flying over here. If you want to just do some cursory flaring, then up there is probably not a bad choice, and Nora's on there.
Another spot I was wondering about is at the ramp to the gem, like between the fence and the ramp. Like if you decloak there, and like if they're, I don't think their combo will push out like to the right side of the ramp, but if they do, you could, like on Badwater, try to do one of those. Yeah,
that's a fairly neat kind of thing. I think generally a lot of the time you wouldn't a pyro. Speaking from a spy, like the first person out of a door tends to be something which isn't the pyro.
Have you ever played against my pyro?
No, never played against you. But speaking from experience with the pyros I played against, the first person out of the door when the enemy team's pushing tends to be a demo man.
That makes no sense to me, but whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess they kind of want him to be right at the head so that they can Uber or whatever. And in which case, I mean, it would be the best thing to do, as you say, would be to send the pyro out first, just to kind of casually look down here. Like, there's a point on Badwater 3rd, which is kind of similar, where teams push out of that little shack thing that they hold when they're ready to push Badwater 3rd or whatever, and no one ever, for some reason, checks the area just directly to the right of that, and I don't understand why. It boggles my mind, but you can get kills there. And this is kind of similar, in that you just should check here.
But to be honest, like, even if his pyro comes out first, like, would he really take his time to check down low there?
Probably.
Like, he would probably check first.
He probably should.
Well, yeah, he should, but like,
I'd
say the first thing would be like to the left side if something tries to rotate behind you.
Yeah.
Do you often run Ambassador?
I do, occasionally. My Ambassador aim isn't as good as, well, anywhere near as good as it should be, to be honest. But I can see some potential for some Ambassador stuff on this map.
There's a lot of up and down on this map, so that's annoying. But there certainly are some nice sightlines.
Yeah, no, definitely.
If you have flag,
I imagine like Inso or one of the spies who's renowned for playing gun spy kind of style. Yeah, Inso solid. All them people would probably have a fairly nice time on this map, just based. I mean, it's good for snipers, so it makes sense. It would be good for that kind of spy.
I think the most like prominent sniper spot will be around here. Like, if anyone can see me.
Yeah, up on
like around these vents. Like, pretty much.
It does get good. I mean, obviously they've tried to cut down the sniper sight lines, which is pretty much the only reason I can see for this fence existing is just cutting down sniper sight lines. But there are still some fairly significant ones. Especially, I mean, this is what I was talking about earlier when I was just like, when your team's holding, wherever they stand, there's normally some place where the sniper can get a shot on them. So I think you just need to be fairly safe.
I think as a sniper you need to rotate as much as your combo does, because like when the enemy team is rotating, you will have to rotate as well, because as you said, like, there are sniper sightlines, but they're mostly like one sightline for one spot, and if you want to have another sightline you have to rotate mostly around the whole map.
Yeah. Very much broader team aspect to that's just pyro play. It needs to be good coordination on your team's front and good calls to figure out where he is and hope and take him down and things. Can I just ask, are these pumpkins a feature of the map?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say, cause having random exploding pumpkins sat on midpoint seems a bit weird.
You should see a map like that.
Could you imagine?
Well, TMP's looking to going into the pumpkin farming business, apparently. He's planting them all over the map. Yeah. But I think Pyro's pretty fun on this map. Like, I don't have too much experience on this map. That's why I held kind of back a bit today. But like, there's lots of corners and like props you can play around and use as cover, so that's really nice. Like, it's really fun to play around that. And I think even a really passive pyro can have a lot of fun on this map. Just
as an aside, if you're being an aggressive pyro, control jammer. That's pretty much the biggest thing you want to be for aggressive. You will probably do amazing if you just control the living crap out of one of the jam rooms that their combos at.
Yeah, pretty much.
What are your thoughts about like holding one of the roofs with a detonator or the other thing, scorch shot?
The roofs, I'm assuming
Yeah.
you're talking about on the...
Yes, the roof
Yeah,
system.
the
Those one.
little.
Well, I think.
So, you want me to talk or do you want to?
Yeah, like, I generally think, like, getting to 1 or 2 spots is often not worse running detonator.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty, like, because you have, like, a big damage, like, reduced damage.
Yep.
But, and I don't think, especially the spots on the roof are too viable. Like, I could see it being used once, like, to get them by surprise, but I'm not a huge fan of like using detonator to get to quirky spots. It's often just not worth it.
On this map, I wouldn't actually be running detonator to get to the roof. If you get on top of the roof, you'll understand immediately why. Because you can be sniped from pretty much.
Yeah, it does just make yourself a big.
Everyone can see it.
Big
Like
sheet
the only reason why you would ever want to get up there is like if their combo is like running around it and they didn't see you and you like change position, like you run above their heads and come from behind or something. I don't know, but
That actually
not
wouldn't
as
be a bad
pyro.
But then again, you have a detonator and can't do damage.
Not necessarily. This kind of map itself, the way how all these props are close, you can actually do a ton of damage with simply your flamethrower if you play right.
Yeah, you can. As I said, you can just by using the cover, you can avoid a ton of damage.
This
And
would
just-
probably be one of the better maps, honestly, to run detonator in terms of a King of the Hill map, simply because it looks like all the fighting as Pyro, whenever you're actually fighting, is going to be very close range, and probably against multiple people. So honestly, the flare gun, degreaser flare tactic kind of stuff, where you do the bursting kills, probably not going to be as impactful as it is on other maps, like it will be on like Lakeside, where you're often having to fight one guy or something. On this, most of the time, you're going to be generally funneled into an area where you're in these longer engages where you're controlling space. And I think in
you
that
could
situation,
spam
it's smart.
detonator, definitely.
That too, it would probably be very good to spam on this map.
Like, especially like to deny that sniper over there or something. I suddenly see that being useful, but generally I think I would try to run shotgun on this map, or like flare simply because I prefer it, and I'm used to it. But yeah, detonator is more viable, but more because of the added like range because you can explode the projectile. It's not due to the mobility.
Honestly, if there was a loadout I was going to run on this map, it would probably be Degreaser Scorch Shot. But that's my personal opinion based on the style of the map. It seems like a map where killing as Pyro isn't necessary. Instead, controlling space is the most important factor. It's similar to Badwater 3 in that regard.
Yeah.
I feel like the jam rooms are just going to be way too impactful for everything. Not in a bad way, but I mean that being able to control the jam room from pretty much any spot on the map, being able to have that long distance air blast will probably help a lot.
Okay, I can see like the Scorcher being useful, because you can just annoy people from wherever, but at the end of the day, it does so little damage. Like if they push into the room, of course you just need your secondary. I think.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to hold a room, like especially close quarters, I would rather have a shotgun. Like, if there's a heavy coming in, I can like deal 450 damage with my flamethrower alone on him, unless he has like the worst tracking ever. Like,
You should play against our heavy
unless it's
sometime.
Kakaltu or something, I don't know.
The ground.
I think I agree with this. Like, I played this map with all four options so far. No, actually, I didn't play the detonator, but I'm bad with it. So, like, I agree with like the pros and cons from the scorch shot. Like, it was really fun, just annoying people from a range, and it also was fun to jump on the roof sometimes when I knew they were pushing, like, through a house or something. Through Shadow. But then again, that was the match where we kind of rolled them, so I think, like, as you said before, if you're standing on roof too much, you'll just get spammed out. Then again, like, if the map is played like I think it will be played, that you will have flanks in one jam room and your combo on the other one and then rotate. if you're with the combo, sure, why not? Like, you don't need that much damage because you don't need to deal with a few people like on your own. Like, you will just annoy people from afar the whole time, and if people are pushing into your combo, you still have your combo and you just air blast and do flame damage. If you want to play on the flanks more, I think Detonator or Scorch Shot is a little bit worse, because you can be in the situation where like a soldier and a scout are rushing you, and maybe one of your flank classes isn't there and you have to try to muscle them out again. You can't do damage with that. Like, not enough for a soldier, a scout or whatever that's rushing you to stop them. So if you really want to be like a flank pyro, I think shotgun or maybe flare gun would be better. But maybe with a combo.
Detonator is okay, but Scorch Shot no.
I can't really say that much about Detonator, to be honest, because as I said, I'm just bad with it. Like, all I can do with a Detonator is try to do the mini crit damage. Like, I'm horrible with the detonating the Detonator, so...
Good, mostly use it exactly like a flare gun, but...
Yeah,
like,
so for me it's just a worse flare gun.
If you can, like, use splash from exploding projectiles, won't be of much use. You're better off using flare gun. Like, I think it depends pretty much on what you want to do. Like, if you just want to spam sight lines and like deal a lot of damage over distance without engaging in a lot of fights, Scorch Shot Detonator is ideal. If you want to like still have a bit of like damage potency, you might want to run flare gun or detonator, simply because you have a longer range. And if you want to really hold one specific area, I'd recommend flare gun or shotgun. But if you want to hold one of the jam rooms, like, shotgun seems really good.
Can you backstab Marasmus? No.
You can huntsman him.
That was the meta, wasn't it? Okay, I don't know, does anyone of you still have something to add, like other pyro positionings maybe, or?
The only thing I was thinking of is just, I don't think this is going to see a huge amount of use, to be honest, but just be aware that their soldier can actually get up here, so maybe just give it a quick check. I was like stood here thinking about how much I need to tell you guys this, and then it occurred to me that it's probably just not.
Alright, like, that was something like I completely didn't think about it during this whole talk. Yeah, I think soldiers, if you stay with your combo, you definitely need to watch out for jumpers and scouts coming from all kinds of corners. I think those are bigger threat than spies, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess soldiers skip jumping maybe from a roof.
Like,
could be a threat.
They don't even need to do like really big jumps. They can just hide in a corner that you can't see. Like, there's a lot of spaces where you can hide without being seen immediately. So just one single jump and you have still 3 rockets remaining, or 2 if you're on black box. Yeah, I think it's a great map for scout, NG, soldier.
I'm actually quite excited to play this because I think it could actually be a fairly decent map for a lot of classes. I mean, I've not played a huge amount on this, but it doesn't strike me as being horrifically weighted to some classes or others. I think there's a lot of room for a lot of classes to kind of shine. So it could be quite interesting. Probably still needs some more work, but it'll be fun to see how the next week goes, to be honest.
Yeah.
I played a few scrims on it and I really enjoyed it. Especially, I don't think it's a hard map for like new teams. Like, you need team coordination because you need people to rotate as soon as people are calling out like what room they're pushing. But that's basically all you need from a team coordination standpoint. Like, it's just rotating your classes around.
Yeah, I mean, I said to my team earlier that I know in European Highlander certainly this map's not been played very much. I mean, that you played it quite a bit over the last couple of seasons in lobbies and things, but it's not really been played much in European Highlander. So I think having a fairly well coordinated team with a decent set of strategies, which you all know what to do and where to go will give you a fairly big advantage over teams who maybe haven't spent much time looking at the map and thought about how they're going to play it, just based on how new it is. So that's probably something you should probably work on as well.
Alright, one more note. Since ETF2 has unbanned the flag, I'm going to mention, just on a matter of flag on this map, probably not a good idea. I mean, if you do a lot of combo clashing, that would probably be, but I would not run flag on this map very often.
Yeah, the thing is, problem is that you like need to charge it up.
Yeah.
And within the time where you have to charge it up, a scout might make easy prey for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a soldier and a scout being so strong in this map to make the flog weak.
Yeah. Just on the flog. I haven't actually used it nor really seen what happens when you do it, but right, okay, so you push into their combo and you've got a fully charged flog and you've got the medic behind you or whatever. Can't their pyro just air blast you?
Yeah.
Yes
Like
or
Does
no.
it kill him quicker than
It kills him really, really quick. And
so he dies. I was wondering because I was like, I wasn't sure if the range of the flog would be longer than.
It
how
is. The range
you
of
could
the
be
flog
kept
is
there.
longer than the range of the air blast.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I mean, I agree that flog's probably not viable, especially not full time. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the flog. I know it's just a silly weapon, and sometimes it even can be effective on some maps. On this map, maybe, like, I think you can charge it up pretty quickly because people will always be a little bit bunched up in the rooms, so you can
especially
just
like with detonate scored shot.
scored shot. I think on this scored shot is amazing because you know, like the thing where, like, when you hit someone direct, it will bounce off and light other people on fire. So I think you can charge it up pretty quickly. But then again, you need, like, the really weak side on for flog, I think, is that you need to get to the room where all the people are. Like, I think you can do a lot of damage because there are a lot of people close in the room, but you need to go there without them noticing, more or less.
Yeah,
or
it's
like
easy
if
to charge up, but it's hard to prey on people actually.
Yeah.
But generally on the flog, I think it's a fun weapon, and it's definitely not OP in any kind of form, since you can just be easily taken out. By a capable soldier, scout, like pretty much any class that stays at distance. But I think in Highlander, if you have a capable team and you're playing seriously, it's usually not viable. Like, it can be for one-time use, but especially if you use it multiple times, it gets predictable and it can be denied really easily. And furthermore, and that's the biggest part, it leaves your own combo really vulnerable to soldiers and other flank classes. Because for soldier, you are the biggest counter, and if you don't have air blast, that big counter is mostly gone.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah.
It's my opinion on Flog and Highlander.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I think it's fun, but not viable.
Well, ETF2L doesn't as a reserve shooter ban, so unfortunately, I probably wouldn't run it in ETF2L.
Oh yeah, right.
Seriously, fly reserves are good. Anyway.
But UGC,
yeah, UGC does allow.
Yes.
Both.
Does allow. I think reserve shooter actually on this map is also quite.
It's not allowed anymore. Not after.
UGC? Really?
No, not after the buff, where it became had like four shots.
In
now.
UGC, it's still allowed.
Not Europe.
Oh, not Europe.
Really?
I'm pretty sure it's not allowed in Europe.
I played. Then it was just a wrong whitelist because I played on a scrim with the Russian team, Wasp, and their pyro used reserve shoot and it annoyed the crap out of me. But
I was gonna say most.
I'll just look it up very quick.
Are shifting to it.
Highlander season 14.
I didn't think it was banned, but I've not really seen it, so who knows.
Oh wait, it's a multi-class, yeah. Oh yeah, it's not banned actually. Weird.
Reserve shoot is a hybrid weapon, so it often has its use, but I personally just don't like the weapon. I don't like to use it, I don't like to play with it, and I hate playing against it.
I mean, if you
Yeah,
hate playing
apparently
against it,
it
that
also has morals or something. It's terrible for a pyro main to have that.
okay.
Like, my problem with it that most people who use it can't hit a single shot outside of using airlock hit the target. Like, they don't have tracking at all, but reserve shooter makes it really easy to win a 1-on-1 without a lot of effort.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the two shells disadvantage. Just if you use a shotgun as a pyro, I really like to just shoot one time somewhere where I would normally shoot a flare, and then you have 3 shots left. And if you want to like check another place very quickly without reloading, you have 2 shots left, and then you have to reload again. Like I don't know. I don't like it.
You have enough shots to check a few spots, fire a few pepper shots, or stay in a fight, and get out of it and then reload. And with a reserve shooter, like with a buff, it's not as bad, but before it was really hard, like to battle multiple opponents.
Yeah.
Which I didn't think it needed a buff. I don't think it's overpowered now either. It was just a weapon that was really strong in a 1v1 matchup. Now it's also stronger versus multiple opponents. So yeah.
Yeah, but it's not as versatile as a shotgun. Shotgun's just more reliable in more situations, I think.
But
at
in
least.
your preferred loadout, like Flock, reserve shooter, and what was the melee?
Third degree. No?
Third degree.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sounds
I
horrible.
certainly think of that as funny. And since you don't have any Oblast now, I can complain about you using reserve shooter.
Yeah. Okay, anything else to the map? I think so as well. Maybe from Mike or Sparks, some questions very quickly? Or something to add?
I'll ask the question I always ask. What is the most class you should be wary of or be careful for on this map? I know it's a new map, but what class do you think that will potentially do the most damage that you could possibly stop?
Based on the
most
construction,
damage?
either soldier or engineer.
Yeah.
I think that those two will be the
engineer,
scary.
demo.
Scout will be up there as well, but I'm really thinking the soldier and engineer. Mini sentries are going to be so obnoxious on this map.
Yeah, definitely.
Assuming you can place them all pro.
A
Have to
capable
go
soldier
now, guys.
can just do a ton of damage without ever dying. I think
Hold on, fine.
Black Box can become really great on this map.
I've run Black Box two
Alright, you
times
play
out
some
of
mini
3 that
there,
I played it.
that's gonna be hilarious.
Okay, Spark? Do you have a question?
Yeah. Do you have any tips for spies playing against high-level pyros? What spies have done well against you, and how did they do well against you?
Learn how to aim at ambassador or revolver.
Yeah.
Pretty much the best thing.
That's
to
one of the
learn.
biggest things. Another thing is often high-level pyros are. I'm not sure how it is in Europe, but in North America, oftentimes they will be somewhat roamy as well. They'll tend to want to go to the flank. I know Steve plays like this, where you'll often rotate to the flank during time.
Yeah.
But during those times, don't necessarily think that it's a good idea to attack the combo just because the pyro's not there. In high-level games, the pyro is not the sole spy checker, and honestly, pyro is actually a pretty bad spy checker at high level, simply because the spy sickle is able to negate most of this damage, and the scout can do the job much better.
Yeah.
So don't become intimidated by the fact that the pyro is not there, or don't become like wary. Oh, the pyro's getting the combo, because chances are they're gonna be ready for it if they're a high-level team.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. So what
Rather
do you
instead,
think
you should
about?
be playing on timings whenever they're weak, like as if they have to look forward during a push or something like that, then that's when you want to go. Or you want to attack someone else during a push and that kind of stuff, and not focus on specifically the combo. And you want to work with your team to also create pressure during those times rather than just focusing on the pyro. The pyro is actually just a relatively small piece of it.
Okay. So what do you think about the spicicle then? Is that kind of not
Spicicles
particularly?
Spicicles hit or miss. I think most people in Europe use it. I'm not sure about that. But
Yeah, many people use. Like
Yeah.
the only guy who doesn't use it is Granger Bob, I
Mm.
think.
I mean, I know
Yeah.
in NA a lot of the spies just use the knife because they have a very strong kind of knife play, and that's the same with Grungy Bob. I think.
a big reason why they run the knife is because pyros often will just randomly throw fire
Yeah, and we'll
and
ruin
deny
your
you a
stab,
stab.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my experience of using the Spicicle, it's more annoying than it is useful, but that might be just because of the way I play.
Yeah.
If you feel like you can fight using a gun a little bit more, and you don't get in positions where your knife gets taken out right before you guys push, then you're probably in a good position.
Okay. So is
Yeah.
it mainly just about getting the right timings?
Yeah, mostly.
Where the pyro's got other things to do.
Pretty much.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Thanks.
also, like, Spicicle is the perfect tool for a spy like Inso and, like, generally gun spies, because they can keep a distance, it just allows them to survive for a lot longer, especially against spies who use flares.
Mm.
So, they can just escape, like Dead Ringer, Spy Cycle, and usually Ambassador Revolver. Like, that's really scary if he has good gun aim. Like,
Mm.
I can...
Yeah. My I always think that the Spicicle synergizes the best with the Deadringer and has some uses with the Cloak and Dagger, but you see people running Spicicle Invis, which kind of perplexes me a little. I guess if you get set on fire when you have full Invis Cloak, then you can get away fairly easily, but I don't know.
No.
I think it tends to run best with the Deadringer, and on some points when you need to wait for some kind of vital objective and you really want to use the Cloak and Dagger for whatever reason. And
Yeah.
I think Steel B is the only point which ever really comes to mind when I think about this.
Mm.
When you want to
Yeah.
be around to be able to set the sentry, then Spicicle C and D can be useful, just so if you get caught you don't die, and you'll normally have enough cloak to escape, just based on the fact you'll probably have been there for a while.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I've kind of got to go now, so I'm going to head off.
Yeah, I think that's it in general. So I just stop it there, I guess. Yeah, I just like to thank all three of you, Joel, YHT, and TMP.